All right, hey everyone, I'm Fisher, and today I'm going to be talking about esports and whether or not esports could be the future of competition. So, when I say competition, what do you guys think of? Do you think of like Michael Phelps in the Olympics swimming for gold? Or do you think of the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
the biggest sporting event of the year?
That's what came to mind.
All right, well, listen for a second. What if I told you that when I think competition, I think a bunch of people sitting at home playing video games? Okay. Well, today I'm going to convince you today why that actually is competition and why it could be the future of our competition. So, when I say competitive video games, what do I mean? Well, I mean esports. Now, esports are a form of organized competition with teams playing different video games, just like sports are playing different sports like basketball or chess. Usually, video games looked at as something casual, which I agree with. Usually, people play them casually. However, there's always going to be people who take stuff to the next level. These players are much like regular sports athletes. They train for countless hours a day. They're on teams with paid salaries, and they compete in different leagues depending on the game that they play. Now, I want to take a look at how esports actually work. Essentially, different games have different leagues, just like different sports have different leagues. For example, the ESL Pro League, the Overwatch League, or the League of Legends Championship Series. In each of these leagues, there's different teams, just like sports teams in regular sports. And actually interesting about esports is the fact that teams can play in multiple different games. Like imagine if the Falcons in the NFL also had a basketball team, which I think is pretty cool. But now that you know what esports are, let me talk to you about the money. So, let's take the Overwatch League, for example, what I previously mentioned. There are 20 different franchise teams in the Overwatch League, and each of these teams require a $20 million buy-in just to participate in the league. That alone is $400 million in revenue just for team buy-in costs. So you can see that this is something that people do want to participate in. And we also can look at the whole industry of esports, which, according to CNN, raked in a total of $1 billion in 2019 alone, and this number has obviously been increasing. In 2015, it was only $300 or $300 million in revenue. Now, for a lot of people, the money is not going to talk, but maybe the numbers will. So this graph shows in 2020 that esports viewers were actually in second place above the MLB, above the NBA, and above the NHL. If you want to get more specific, an article by venture capitalists compared the viewership numbers of different sports finals in 2017. The NBA finals had 32 million viewers, the MLB finals had 38 million viewers, the League of Legends finals had 58 million viewers, and the Super Bowl had 124 million viewers. So an esports like League of Legends, which most people have never even heard about, was actually the second most viewed sports final in the world in 2017. Just really showing the support that esports have. Now, a lot of people would say that esports are not real sports, but I'm going to show a different argument to you guys. Here I have the definition of a word sport. You can see that it's an athletic activity requiring skill or physical prowess, and often of a competitive nature. When you apply that to esports, I'd say it's kind of a gray area. Like, yes, it is a skill and it is of a competitive nature, but I don't know if you'd really call it athletic. But to answer that question, I decided to compare a pro esports player to a pro soccer player. According to Business Insider, players on the competitive League of Legends team, Team Liquid, practice for a minimum of 50 hours every week, not even including the time that they played on their own. On the other hand, according to soccerblade.com, pro soccer players practice for about 30 hours a week. And I'm not trying to say at all that pro soccer players are lazier or anything like that, because it's a lot more physically demanding to play a sport than a video game. However, it shows that esports athletes do put in the same time and effort that regular sports players put in. And another thing is, what does it mean to be an athlete? And can esports players be considered athletes? Well, when answering this question, I looked to the federal government, and what I mean by that is the P1 visa, which is a visa to come play, usually sports, in the United States for people in other countries. To get this visa, you need to have an internationally recognized high level of achievement evidenced by a degree of skill and recognition substantially above that ordinarily encountered, so that the achievement is renowned and well known in more than one country. And the United States has actually offered many visas to esports players to come play in the United States. And if that doesn't convince you, let's ask 23-time gold medal winner Michael Phelps. He actually presented the Esports Player of the Year award in 2016, and during this he talked about how there's no question about the skill, training, and devotion that it takes to become a professional esports player. And he also talked to them as if they were fellow athletes. There are also other players or other people in the sports world that are pro esports. I don't know what happened to the Mark Cuban image, but Mark Cuban, the owner of the Mavericks basketball team, is heavily invested into esports. Tennessee Titans' very own Roger Saffold actually owned and started his own esports team in 2014. And even Shaquille O'Neal is a part owner of the esports team NRG. Throughout time, competition has always been changing. The ancient Greeks started the Olympics thousands of years ago, and I don't think they would ever have expected to see the sports that we have today. Competition is forever changing, and maybe, who knows, whenever we're older, we'll be crowded around the TV, not watching football, but watching people play video games. Thank you.